You're listening to The Angry Designer, where we cut through the industry bull to help frustrated graphic designers survive and thrive.
There we go.
There we go. Beautiful.
Let us begin.
Yeah, hey.
Smell. Oh, that smells a little different. Cheers, my friends.
Salud. Cheers.
Cheers. So this is something interesting. This is, although we've had Basil Hayden before, this is Basil Hayden toast. And not to be confused with that Wonder Bread toast, but according to this,
I thought I saw Wonder Bread floating around in there.
logo, which by the way is kind of a cool logo. It's been recognizable for. Didn't you?
Oh, what happened?
John, I remember like 20 years ago or 15 years ago, Nico showed me your logo when you went freelance at first, and it looked like the Wonder Bread logo, but with your tag or your name. No,
I don't remember.
I swear. Oh my God.
I'll have to dig that up.
Let's think back, because I was like, hey, Wonder Bread. He's like, yeah, I know, cool, right? And again, it was 100%. I don't think it's like it was doing it by purpose. I think you were intentionally doing it.
Wow.
I wonder why that just came to mind.
Yeah, that's
random.
That's digging way back.
Yeah. I got parts of me are like an elephant. Let me just say that. So needless to say, this is the Basil Hayden toast. So it's like finished in toasted casks, right? It's got that caramel. They toasted the inside of the cask.
Nice.
I don't know, how does this?
It's really good.
Is it really?
Oh man, I like it.
Because I've been doing that Jura for a little bit. So
you really went down hard on that Jura. But it's so good though. Like it's nice to have a bourbon.
Oh shit, dude, that is really good.
It is good.
It is. It's a bourbon, but it's
a bourbon. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, from the other Scotch stuff that we've had, but this is great.
I like this. It's not very sweet.
No, not at all.
Really
and
good.
I appreciate that hint of caramel. Nothing crazy.
It's nothing.
Can you taste? I can taste the toast, but not as strong as I would have thought.
Yeah, it's got that casky kind of vibe. Doesn't it?
Yeah. All right. Well.
Damn.
So what's up, California boy?
Nothing, dude. Just chilling, man.
Sean comes back from his California adventure all tanned, and his beard has got like beads in it.
Playing on the steel drum, Mon. Oh wait, that's not that far south.
So it was a good trip, though.
It was awesome. Yes.
Totally jealous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to be traveling soon.
Yes, we will. Yeah, we'll be heading out to Nashville.
That's right.
It's not California, though.
No, it's not. But
Nashville's pretty fucking.
It's going to be the bomb. Like, there's good food there.
Good food, good music. I think we'll have some good old fun in Nashville.
Yeah, that's right. Looking forward to it. Woo!
But needless to say, look, a lot happened while you were gone.
Yes.
And fuck, did I miss you? Because I had to do your job.
I know. I'm
my
sorry.
job. I had to step in on Mac for a little. I don't know how it all ended up on my play. I had anxiety all fucking week.
I can imagine, because you know how crazy some of our clients can be with this, and I was kind of paying attention to the launch list and all that. And I was just like, oh my God, those poor guys. They must be losing their minds.
It was
right
a
now.
little nutty, and I mean, I don't think we're out of it yet, because
No.
I mean, this upcoming week it's still going to be a bitch of a week.
It's
that's
still
going
going
to
to be tough,
but
you get those projects out of the way
yeah,
for the trade show or whatever.
It seems like it doesn't matter how big your team is. It's like you're constantly battling this growth and then hiring new team. Like, do you hire before you grow? Do you grow before you hire? Right? Like it's. Man, let me tell you, this week I could have used an extra person or two.
I can imagine. That is a good problem to have, right?
Yeah, actually it is.
When
It is.
you're
And I always
busy
tell everybody,
AF.
if your problem is that you're too busy,
Yes.
that's a good
That
fucking
is a good
problem.
thing.
And I mean, I get it can be overwhelming. It could be this, it could be that. But, generally 9 times out of 10, all it takes is just you got to put in the time to get over that hump. And then if it continues, you got to bring on. So it is a good problem to have.
Totally. Yeah.
Let's just see how long we have this problem. That's all.
Well, it's always funny because you think at some point, I remember in the days of old, we would have lulls. Do you know what I mean? There
peaks and valleys.
Peaks and valleys.
And
yes.
that's so
To
the
catch
difference
up.
is, and here's the difference, because we switched over. And again, some people are against this online, but we did switch over to a retainer model, and we tried hard to get everybody on a retainer model.
Right.
And then what happens is it's just like then all of a sudden the peaks and valleys start to level out a little bit more, right? Because then you're involved a little bit more in the planning process on a regular basis,
Yes.
and you can almost control the workload,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you know know that, like, I know for a fact the next quarter is going to be pretty damn busy.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's safe to, staff up, where when you're on this hunt and gather or project by project basis, it is harder to, I think we touched on that in an episode before about retainers versus project.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a fan, and I think I've finally been able to make that retainer model work. And,
Yes.
and I mean, in my opinion, I recommend it to everybody.
Yes,
right?
I think it's far more steady and more like you can build around that. You know what I mean, with your staff.
Absolutely.
Because pretty much you're going to get this much level from that client.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the cool thing happened this week. Spoke to a new friend who reached out, somebody that I've been following for a long time on Instagram, and fucking, in my opinion, like the master of badges, a master of logo work, just fucking incredible. Had a great conversation with Alan Peters, right? And again, the whole thing came up because, of course, I've been following him on Instagram. If anybody does not follow Alan Peters, get on. Like, I mean, this guy's shit's just unfucking real.
Do it.
Because again, I let Paul Rand as a hero, and this guy's stuff is so mid-century.
Yes.
Look, it's so perfect. Everything is just so meticulous.
Yeah.
He masters white space, negative space. It's just I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
But so he had a book, and I was just like, very cool. And I was just like, right away, I'm like, dude, bought it right away. I didn't even hesitate. It's even though it's not coming out till October, I'm like, yep. And I was like, yep, already put in my order. And then he was like, dude, like, let's talk. So we so needless to say, that was really cool. And maybe we're going to talk a little bit more about him in the next couple weeks. Yeah. But I mean, again, I had a great talk with him. We were on the phone for like an hour, and we talked about everything, life and work. And this dude has worked with Target. This dude has worked with huge brands, Amazon and like, Walmart, like these incredible companies, incredible brands.
Yep.
Okay. His work, in my opinion, impeccable.
Yes.
Just what he does and how he creates this shit is just unfucking real.
Yes.
And he is the most humble, nicest guy, I think. And again, Michael Jenna, nicest guy in my opinion, right? In this industry.
Really nice.
Fucking Aaron Draplin,
Draplin
humble,
was
awesome guy.
Yep.
This, like, again, it is amazing to know that these heroes, heroes of mine, I guess they want to call it that way, in this space anyway, they're just so fucking down to earth, so humble. Then I have a fucking meeting. And it was because I had to, because one of our customers is involving another agency, probably fucking nepotism, with a UX designer from the other agency. Okay. And he's presenting us a fucking logo for an event. So first off, why the logo didn't come to us, I don't know. Little irritated, but no problem.
Yeah.
From my customer's sake, whatever. Again, nepotism. and so he and again, he's just always talking about here's the logo and blah blah. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever. Like it is what it is. Wasn't it great? It wasn't stellar.
It wasn't wonderful, yeah.
Right? But again, whatever. And then I was like, okay, great. But it was wide. It was a horizontal logo. So then I was just like, so then I'm like, okay. I was like, okay, so great, good, love it. Let's put it in some stuff and let's start building it out. Have you created a responsive version? Do you have it, in a tall version or square? And then there's a pause. And then he's like, can you explain to me why we would need that? And he said it in such a fucking condescending tone, kind of like, and just like, I was, okay, right away, I'm like, favicons, social profiles, mobile, is going on a responsive site. Like, we need, something that's going to work in a square environment, right? Yeah. And then the fucking kid, okay, these fucking UX people sometimes, he fucking has the audacity to go on and be like, well, it's going to tarnish the brand. This isn't good for the brand. And I'm like, what's not good for the brand is you want me to jam a wide logo into a space that is clearly not made for that. And you're thinking that's good for the brand? Like, dude, and the way he was talking about this, right? Like, my blood is boiling. I just wanted to, it's like, you're not a logo designer. You're not a brand guy. You think you're a fucking UX guy. You should know this. If you are, motherfucker, know your fucking role.
Exactly.
I was just like,
I was just going to say, if anybody, a UX designer would be aware of the responsive design.
At the very least.
That's
very least.
Your main priority, right?
You know, if you came from graphics and went to UX, that's fine. If you're in UX and you think you can do what I don't fucking care what that is. But his tone, his arrogance, he's trying to fucking, talk brand to me. We've been brand guardians for this company for years. We've been in charge of this shit. Dude, so then that sets me off, right? Because and that was like literally like, I mean, compared to just, somebody who deserves this kind of praise or nobody should act this way. But, like talking to, Alan, I mean, again, who's amazing.
Yep.
Nicest guy in the world.
Yep.
This punk who clearly has no fucking idea what he is doing is like all arrogant. And honestly, it just drives me nuts because this is the kind of shit. And then, you know what? It just kind of, I got so many issues with
breathe,
this.
Moss, breathe, buddy.
I had so many issues with this because, again, I remember for the longest time, I always felt insecure or, like you'd second guess yourself because, you're just, I mean, I genuinely, when I was young, I loved this space. But I would often run into designers who were fucking assholes and arrogant, and they wouldn't give you the time of day because I was new or a junior. I remember once, having the balls to walk in randomly. I was at a plaza out in Toronto, and I saw a graphic design agency. I was like, cool. And I went in there, and I was all like happy. I'm like, hey. And a girl comes to the front desk, right? And I'm like, oh, you know what? I just wanted to see what this place was like because I'm a student. I share it in graphic design. And she's like, great. And that's it. She didn't say a single thing.
That was it.
And she just basically sat there and let me just talk, didn't say a word. And I was like, okay, obviously you're busy, so I'm going to go, yeah, okay. Thanks for stopping by. And I'm like, what? So I don't understand, like when designers have this kind of persona, this arrogance, this whole aura about them, dude, it is just so fucking... it hurts everything. It hurts the industry. It's so counterproductive to everything that designers should do. And it's just, it baffles me that these attitudes still exist in this space.
That's crazy.
But dude, I can go on like this for about an hour. This is a topic that legitimately gets me fucking pissed off. Do you know, we have an angry designer, a listener or follower, and she's a fellow angry designer, and she reached out and she's like, dude, like, I need help. I wish you guys could come in here and help work with our company because we're working with this creative agency and they just fucking suck. She's like, they straight out, they flat out don't do what her boss asks them to do. Straight out, okay? They regularly disagree with her director. They fucking try to, then they try to include her on their side. And they're like, oh, come on, you know what we're talking about, right? You're a designer. And she's like, no. Like,
this is all
no.
wrong.
I've been listening to these guys. This is design, not the shit that you're doing. Like, they would just ignore the boss's requests, right? They would sit there and they wouldn't even let her boss, the director, have contact with the design team. There's this fucking guy in the middle who cock blocks the entire conversation, which again is just like, why are you even and I get this. Her boss, she says they struggle trying to find the right agency for fit, for creative and such like that. But it's like these guys are, like, and again, they refuse that. Their account rep absolutely sometimes flat out disagrees and refuses to share it and just lets them know, no, I'm just not going to take it to the team. Like, no. Like this whole vibe of arrogance. He actually even said to her, like he once even jokingly went to her and he was like, designers never give clients what they want. And it's like, and he's proud of this. Like, this is so bad for this space.
Wow.
Oh, dude.
That's fucked up.
It is so fucked up.
So, are they like on a retainer? This
sounds like
agency.
It sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like it. In order
this,
to kind
this person needs to extract themselves from this fucking relationship,
dude. It is.
If your agency is like that,
like, and you know what the funny thing is? How many times, even and we've heard this recently from another. A colleague of ours who's like, yeah, so-and-so from that agency regularly yells at me.
Yes.
And here's the agency, Prime, is yelling at the customer.
Yes.
And I don't understand. Like, this is a stereotype that just has to fucking stop in this space. Yeah. I don't fucking care who the... You know what really pisses me off? Besides this whole fucking topic... Do you remember when we were talking to Aaron Dravlin?
Yeah.
Okay, Aaron fucking Draplin. Okay, one of all of our heroes.
The Beast.
Okay, the Beast. He's just and the nicest fucking guy in the world. And he said to us, he was at an event. I think he was presenting at Adobe or something like that. Right? He was backstage.
Yep.
And he was backstage with another famous designer.
Is this the guy that we're thinking?
No, the girl.
Oh, the girl. Oh, yes.
The girl, right? And again, this is you know what he's like.
Yes.
He's big. He's
Yes.
friendly.
Yep.
He's
Big
funny,
teddy bear.
right?
Yeah.
He's just the
It's
nicest
awesome.
fucking guy in the world. And he said he was trying to be nice and strike out a conversation.
Yeah.
She snubbed him, like to your fucking face. And how does somebody even have the audacity to do something so ridiculous as this? Like, recognize the talent.
Yeah.
The dude is wildly famous. He's got so many, and yet maybe she is in her own mind and maybe she has people who fawn over her bullshit. But again, it's just like, who the fuck do you think you are that you know what I mean? He reached out, he reached out to, we're the same, we're in the same space, treat me like a fucking equal.
Exactly.
Don't be an arrogant, pretentious fucking designer dick.
Yes, exactly. And see, something like that, like it always strikes me as odd that you would go and talk to somebody like that, shut them down, when you could learn something from that person. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Apparently not.
Because Aaron Draplin and that other person who
Yep.
shall not be named have very wildly, well, not wildly different, but very different kind of
I think wildly different is
niches.
pretty close,
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
honest.
exactly.
Or at least style.
style-wise.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
yes.
to me, if I was talking to somebody who was wildly different from what I was doing, I would want to I would be interested in what
Pay
that
the
person,
fucking respect.
exactly,
Right?
or just because we're always learning, right?
Exactly.
This is the kind of thing you could always take something away from a conversation with anybody.
Dude, it's just horrible.
That doesn't make any sense.
Not at all. These kind of people, whether or not they feel they're right in their own fucking mind, hurt the fucking industry.
Totally.
This is the kind of shit that, like I said, I thought finished 20, 25 years ago when I was growing up. I didn't think that this shit still existed, but apparently it fucking does. Like, again, it hurts the perception of designers. I mean, as it is, people often have bad impressions of designers to begin with.
Exactly.
They joke about us all looking like Andy fucking Warhol with the big glasses, wearing black. Okay, I wear black all the time, but you know what I mean? Like but regardless, we already have that impression to a lot of groups.
This is
Some
true.
people can't shake this.
Yeah.
This is not what you want to keep going. Like, that's why I think the past few years I've been surrounding myself more with like our vibe.
Yes.
The people
Yeah.
we follow online, our vibe.
Yes.
Right? I would be heartbroken if I ended up reaching out to, somebody like a Beirut or a Carson and to find out that they're assholes. I mean, I'm almost hesitant too, just in case. Because again, maybe they're of a different design generation or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, that would be really heartbreaking.
It would be crushing. Yeah,
It would. Crushing.
And that's kind of the thing is when you meet your heroes and they don't turn out to be who they are.
Yeah.
It just kind of, it kind of sucks. But that's what with Draplin, like,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to expect, but holy crap, I didn't expect that.
Right? A prince of a fucking
I
man.
didn't think he would be that
Just
nice.
amazing.
Janda, same thing, and this Allen
Exactly,
guy,
right?
I mean, he sounds
Totally
like
amazing.
Yeah,
These are all amazing people.
Yeah.
Honestly, think about it. This is the design industry.
Yeah.
Okay. Whether it's graphic design, whether it's industrial design, fuck, even if it's interior design, right?
Yeah.
We're here for our end user. Arrogance has no fucking place in this industry because this industry is about the end user.
Yes.
No matter which way you fucking cut it. Like, it's just, we're supposed to be solving problems for people. How the hell can you solve problems if you're unapproachable?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you speak in languages they don't understand, if
Yes.
you have all the answers and you don't even need to ask them.
You
'Cause
ju- yeah.
you know it all,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Dude, like, and again, and this is where it really, this whole industry is all about collaboration. So if you have this whole wall ahead of you because you're arrogant and pretentious and a fucking douche, well, yes, I said that.
Woo,
Because
shots fired.
this is a fucking topic that just burns my blood. Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
has no place in the design industry. And that's
Exactly.
what drives me nuts. I fucking, I can't say for sure where this shit came from or why it exists.
Yeah.
I don't know why some designers are like this. And I mean, I went and I searched and there's no concrete evidence of anything out there. Like, nobody knows. Our guess is as good as anybody else's.
The only thing I could think of is, and I keep going back to that story with Paul Rand and Steve Jobs.
Yep.
But I mean, what was he? This is the logo that you're going to get, right? It's kind of an arrogant thing, but also you've got a lot of shit in the rear view mirror. You know what I mean?
What was funny though? See, at first I laughed about that, right? And I was like, Paul Rand was just trying to be a bigger asshole than Steve Jobs. And he was like, you know what? I don't like this Steve character, so I'm just going to tell him to shut up. And here you go. But I mean, the more I researched about it, and the more, we read and we talked about Paul Rand quite a bit a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
He wasn't saying, he's like, you have a problem.
Yep.
I'm going to give you a solution. You don't have to go with it.
Oh, yes.
And if you want somebody, go ahead. If you want me, I'm going to give you a solution.
Yeah.
And take it or leave it, right?
Yeah,
Done.
exactly.
So he arrogant, cocky, whatever you want to call it.
Maybe not. Yeah. In that kind of, it's like, this is what I can bring to you.
Yep.
Kind of thing, right?
This is what you're going to get.
Yes.
Dealing with me.
Right.
And we do that in a polite way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure maybe his conversation with Steve was probably a little bit more polite than that, right?
I would think so. Yeah, for sure.
But
this person with this agency saying, no, this is the way it's going to be. Unless you're Paul fucking Rand.
Yeah. You do not.
You do not
like
do
that
that
to
shit.
people.
Yes,
no,
exactly.
Dude. And that one just blows me away.
Yeah.
And again, why are they so we talked about this, I think a little bit, guesses. Possibly why, designers are arrogant, because again, I couldn't find anything concrete online about why the arrogance happens, but we can assume, number one, some of them are probably solo artists. They want their own gig. They're only looking out for themselves. They're not looking out for the team.
Right.
We've hired one or two of those in the past, unfortunately.
Yep.
And, although they were nice people, and I like them, their arrogance came in their whole, designer persona. It was all about them.
Yeah.
Their choices. They didn't collaborate well. They didn't play well in groups.
Exactly.
Right. And even though in the interview process they all swore that they did, the practice was that, they were in it for themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's fucking shitty. And I think that has a lot to do with it, because everybody who I think and you kind of pigeonhole like this, they are really, working on their own selves, their own brand. They're trying to push this whole fucking, I don't know what you want to call this plan of theirs.
Yeah, I
don't
suppose
know.
their agenda. I don't know what it would be.
But in situations like that, though, you don't want people like that on your team anyway.
Well, they're not teammates.
They're not.
So why?
You can't manage that.
Exactly.
Right. And again, just because you have one person on your team that even if they're a fucking superstar, let's face it. It's more than about the design when it comes to a job.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to present. You've got to do production roles. So if you've got an arrogant dick, who's like, okay, fine, they're a superstar or not, it's the rest of the team has to support that.
Yeah.
And if they can't get behind that person, you're dead in the water.
Yeah, you're done.
Horrible.
Yeah,
and let's face it, word spreads quickly.
Yes.
Okay, so if you are that arrogant dick, right? So,
you're gonna mention that to somebody,
Yep.
because they're gonna need references.
Yep.
Like this is the kind of stuff. If you are career centered and you're just trying to jump around to where they're gonna contact you, the future employer, and say, "What's this employee like?"
Yeah.
And you're gonna go, "Well,
I don't know so much.
I'm gonna be polite, but
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
100%.
This is the kind of and it's we've said this before. This is a tight clique
It
that
is.
we're in.
It is this
Everybody knows everybody else.
Everybody does, right?
So yeah, you don't want to fuck with everybody.
No,
like
absolutely
that.
not.
Just doing shit like that, being arrogant.
So
No.
I think maybe another reason why some people are so arrogant, though, and especially designers wise, okay, is they have a very high perception of themselves.
Yeah.
And this is what I keep thinking about when thinking back to Aaron Draplin's story, right? The person, the way she carries herself and acts and this and that. Yeah, I believe that in that sense. They kind of have this self-importance and they have their own agenda when it comes to design, and they're like, oh, design is much more important than you give it credit. But dude, it's not fucking medicine. You're not a doctor.
Yeah.
Design isn't gonna all of a sudden, we need help. Get the defibrillator. No, get the logo. Start stomping the logo on his. Stomp it harder. Stomp it harder. Like,
I designed this white paper on how to save somebody. Look at it.
Look at it. Look at it.
Isn't it beautiful? Come to.
Come to. Look at my work.
Laugh at it, yeah.
It's,
you're right. You're right.
The reality is, don't get me wrong, I am more passionate about my space, about this space than anybody I know.
Totally.
But I realize that there is a limit
Yes.
to design, and
Yes.
I'm not a doctor. There is no design emergencies, which is in general why working on the weekends is kind of a
It's kinda
farce,
stupid,
because it's stupid.
Yeah.
Nothing absolutely crazy. We need a logo stat. like it just.
Yeah, we need it for Sunday. Come on, like give me a break. No, no, you don't.
So I do feel that some of these people put this unrealistic or absurd importance on design. And although I love what I do, I'm very realistic about this, right? Totally. I get to do this for a living. It's fantastic, but I am not putting myself above doctors or putting myself
scientists.
I
know.
I'm not really changing the world so much. I wonder if, maybe some of this arrogance actually starts off even earlier than we can imagine. Maybe it actually starts at school.
Oh.
And what I'm saying is unfortunately I didn't have the best experience at school, but I mean I can say for a fact 2 of my profs were total douches. They were fucking arrogant, pretentious graphic designers, who like the way they would talk, the way they would carry themselves, and half the class just fawned on every word. It's like they'd follow them around. Yes, you're the best. And it's like, dude, you're teaching graphic design at a college. You're not that good.
You're not that good.
Like, don't give yourself too much credit. But again, and then just the bullshit that they would tell people that when you graduate, you should be looking for $100,000 as a junior. It's like, what? Where does this happen?
How does that happen?
How is that right? But they start instilling this shit at at the college level.
Yeah, there you go. So you start to kind of pump them up like that, And in all fairness too, when you're in school, it's not like the real world at all. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Oh
my God!
You get to do your own thing,
yeah.
Whereas you never get to do that in real life.
No, God, no!
It's like it's
you have all this time in the world to get a logo project done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'd have logos, and you could create whatever the logo you wanted. It's like, oh, I'm going to use this, and this is going to be great. But it's not a real, it's not some fucking rural tech company. That
exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's just like it's not realistic.
Yes.
So I mean, stop instilling this arrogance to these kids, and kind of instead instill work ethic.
Yes.
Instill
that's right.
Teamwork.
Yes.
And collaboration.
Yes.
This is the stuff you need to instill, not arrogance. And when you're done after you graduate, make sure you sign up for RGD, so you can be a registered graphic designer and be part of our special elite club. And don't
see the podcast or listen to the podcast on our feelings on that one.
On that kind of shit. Words. Oh, that wasn't words. That's even worse.
That's that was clubs after.
Shit. And then you know what I find a lot of the arrogance, and I don't know, I can't say this is continually goes, but I said that this shit existed a long time ago, right? When I was young and upcoming and just learning the space. And now that I'm on Reddit and I'm on all these other forums, just on a regular basis, talking to people, I still see a lot of that arrogance, but it comes from the older designers on there.
Oh.
So I wonder if, the outgoing designers, the ones who are old, and again, how I feel about ageism. I mean, again, that's nothing to do with ageism, but I'm wondering if there was something about late 70s, 80s designers that made them all of a sudden feel that they were above everybody else. Because the comments are always really high and mighty, and they're condescending.
Really?
They're really, they often, try to use heavy words, and you can see the questions. I'm a junior. Here's my portfolio. Blah blah blah. I need help. Even once, I remember, years ago, I made a comment about white space, saying, I forgot what the comment I asked. I think I was asking for help because I was trying to understand, white space at that time, because it's one of those things that you can work a lifetime on white space.
You totally can.
And this was about 10 years ago, and and the response I got from this douche was, that's my favorite word of the day, apparently, was. Well, apparently, if you have to ask, you just don't know.
Oh my God!
And I'm like, I'm here for help.
Yeah.
Right here again, you want to reach out to your community for help, and that's the response you get.
That's what you get. Yeah.
Like honestly, and I literally, I think I was kicked out of that club because I actually told them to fuck off. And again, because I was like, how dare you? Like, people are here to look for help, and that's the response you give me. Fuck you. You're not even worthy of being on here.
Yes.
And I'm the one who gets kicked off for using the F-bomb.
Wow.
The F-bomb is probably less offensive than the shit he says.
Yeah. Like if it's if you're supposed to be helping people, how am I supposed to learn if no one tells me how to do this?
So I do see that outgoing thing right now. And again, you almost can pick them out. It's just like, oh, I can tell that you're has been. You know, you were in print, you didn't migrate over, and now you're just crusty and holding on to all these old fucking principles and acting like.
When I was a young designer, we didn't talk like that. You know? Yeah, you're probably
I came up with campaigns for Kmart and Zellers
and Sears. And look where they are. Oh, wait, they're all closed.
Oh my God, has-beens. That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that could be good.
So I don't know. I don't know where that comes from, but I do recognize that.
Yes. Yeah.
And there is something else that I wonder if maybe if maybe certain people who carry this arrogance persona, if they, and I'm wondering if maybe they genuinely believe that arrogance is more successful. If you're arrogant, you're more successful than if you're not, or if you're humble, or anything like that. And this is why I wonder if and I mean, sadly, I've seen some modern day YouTube graphic design celebrities, if that's what you want to call them, talk that way, saying that, I'd much rather be arrogant than humble.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if they may be wondering if that actually brings more success.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, okay, so I don't think so, as you know. I'm very strong advocate for being, humble.
Yeah,
always.
totally.
I think success comes with humility, right?
Totally.
And that's my opinion, and that's fine,
Yep.
right? Because I think you need to be more confident to be humble, right? You need to be, but okay, fine, my opinions. But this isn't about me, okay? I read, okay, and I think this is brilliant, from the Harvard Business Review, okay? So this is from fucking Harvard.
Reputable,
okay?
yeah.
Little reputable, and everybody can look for this. And the reality is there's evidence that supports that humble leaders outperform arrogant ones, which is fucking incredible, right?
Yep.
So that says a lot about, high power leaders who don't think that they can be humble and ambitious at the same time. This is a great article, right? And there's so much more material about that. But it says humility in the service of ambition is the most effective and sustainable mindset for leaders.
Oh,
right? And again, so I went down this rabbit hole because again, and because I was sitting there thinking, well, we always hear about the top leaders in the world right now, the Elon Musks, the fucking Bezos and all this, right? And well, let's face it, right? Elon Musk is really, I don't think there's anybody in the world who's most popular, arrogant person than him,
I don't think
right?
so.
And again, and let's see how well it's working for him right now, right?
Yeah,
like it's kind of crashing and burning.
Yeah, totally. He needs to shut the hell up.
People don't really like this dude too much
Exactly,
right now.
yeah.
And is he successful? Well, maybe. But at the same time, at what cost, right? People aren't following him. And the question, and the thing is, will people follow an arrogant leader? They will to a point, but they're not going to fall to the edge of the world.
Nope.
They're not. They're going to jump on the next train that comes their way, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this says. This actually says that the lion's share of world-changing luminaries are actually humble people, not arrogant people.
Wow.
So again, if people are believing that this is what it takes to be successful, this is like it's saying it's clearly fucking wrong.
Yeah.
It says humble leaders focus on the work, not themselves, which totally goes back to the whole idea about designers are about the end user, not about yourself.
Yes.
So if you're an arrogant designer, it completely contradicts what the fuck that you're doing in this industry, in this space to begin with. So they seek success, they are ambitious, but they are humbled when it arrives, and they feel lucky, not all-powerful and mighty and entitled when they get it.
Right.
So
that's the key. There you go. Yes. You've made it to the top of the heap. You should feel lucky.
Absolutely.
Rather than fuck you all.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like
of course I'm here.
Of course I'm here. But you're right. It's
first time.
The ambition drives you, but you got to keep that humility as well.
Absolutely.
That's what keeps you to the top. Right?
So, and that's what I think we're lacking right now, because you're seeing all the hotshot business leaders right now, and you know what? Very few of them seem very humble at all.
Very self-centered, especially Elon. Like he's as selfish as they come.
I'm not seeing many humble ones out there, which is kind of sad. And I'm not sure, like, even when you watch all those fun shows, like, the Dragon's Den and such, some of them are a little bit more grounded. Some of them are still pretty fucking arrogant, I must admit.
This is true.
Yeah.
You're right. Oh, that's heavy. That's pretty cool, though. Like,
It is kind of neat, I think. So.
I'd be interested. You have to forward me that article because
Yeah.
I would like to.
It is really cool,
'cause I'd
actually.
like
If
to
anybody
read
wants to
this.
let me know, I'll
I think
hit them
that's
up on that
really
one.
that's really good, and that's true. That's the difference between success and stomping all over people on the way up the
Yeah,
ladder. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah, and that translates to any job. You know what I mean? Like our job, our space, or yes, please, or whether you're the leader of Twitter, the owner of Twitter,
The leader, the
CEO,
owner, who even knows what the
whatever
fuck
the
this
hell
guy's
he is.
doing,
Yeah,
eh?
cheers.
So, it makes me wonder why people actually started putting up with this, right? And again, there's nothing really out there. So a lot of this was just like having to just scratch your brain. I like researching, but this whole topic didn't give me much to go with other than, just my pure rage on the whole fucking topic. But I mean, again, I'm thinking that maybe people will put up with it. So one of the reasons, if in fact you are talented and people hire you knowing you're arrogant, but they know you're talented. So in some ways they're like, well, I know he's an asshole, but he's really good at what he does. So potentially that whole Steve Jobs, thing, like maybe that was legit, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, remember that movie, Steve Jobs, Pixar, that movie
Ratatouille,
right? With like the little chef with the big hat.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, the reality is he was trying to be something he wasn't in the end.
Yeah.
So if in fact, you've got this arrogance about you and people hire you based on that arrogance, you better be prepared to put up. And if you can't put up, like what their expectations are, what they're actually wanting, right? They're going to drop you pretty quick.
Yeah.
There's going to be, they're not going to be scared to be like, dude, not what I thought.
Yeah.
Right. Really not what I thought. This isn't what else you got.
Yeah.
Right. And the funny thing is, it was like, watching someone awesome like Michael Beirut. And again, I'm not saying in any way he's an arrogant person, but, I watched his online, it was on YouTube about, his whole MIT and coming up with the brain for MIT, right? Oh. And he showed, he talked about the first thing that they showed, and they just weren't into it. So here's somebody that is incredible in this space, and it's kind of like he went back to the drawing board, but what he came back with was even fucking better.
And see, that's it. That's the key.
Yeah.
I find that too in my stupid little world and experience. It's like if you send something out and the client's like, well, this is not exactly what we want. Can we try something like this? And it's like, rather than saying, fuck no.
Fuck no, and stomp around.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll try that. And then with that armor or with that knowledge, knowing that, they weren't too keen on the last one.
Yep.
Your humility says, okay, now I'm going to step. Oh, fuck it. Oh, I'm going to get this motherfucker.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I think that drives you.
I would think so too,
Yes.
right? And again, it's happened. It's happened to all of us.
And if Michael Beirut can have to go back to the drawing board, then I certainly can too.
In the presentation, he wasn't a dick about it. He wasn't like, they're idiots, they're wrong.
Yeah.
He was
like, okay.
Didn't really like the first round, but then and he didn't even have to mention that, which was cool.
Yes.
So which makes me kind of, question, like, I think, like he's actually probably a pretty stand-up guy for being able to sit there. Because if he wanted to look like the high almighty, a high and mighty designer, he wouldn't have mentioned that. He would have been like, First time we got it. Yeah. And it wasn't, right?
Yeah.
And I love the execution. Love it. I often go to his shit. He's really good with the rollout stuff.
Yeah.
Damn, he's good with the rollout stuff. So needless to say, you know what? If a customer, they'll forgive the arrogance if they believe that you're talented enough to, to back it up.
Yeah.
But again, they're gonna be harder on you for that. So
That's
you
right.
better fucking be good.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to earn that shit.
Maybe you're a famous designer. Maybe you're a celebrity designer, and they're using you as a trophy piece. They maybe be like, "Oh, we hired, so and so," or I can say for a fact this happened to me 20 years ago.
Wow.
Right? We had somebody, we had a customer. And to me, they were a big customer when we were just starting out. It was a really big deal. They had 7 locations. We were 3 years in. It was fucking great. And I was dealing with you at the time, even because I remember I had to send you some stuff for the record when you were with, no. Like, I mean, it was just, again, because I was working here. But needless to say, it was great for us. Then he brought in a marketing girl who claimed that, who claimed to be my friend, right? And then she was like, "Oh, don't worry, we're going to do some great work together. But then at the time, there was this other agency in town that was all like, they were the shiny new object. And she wanted to work with them. And literally, she's like, okay, I need a quote from you, right? And I was like, okay, well, you just tell me where you need it to be, and no problem.
Yeah.
So she told me. I was like, okay, fine, that's exactly where we were. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Well, then she then goes to them, and she wanted to work with them, and she wanted to do the job with them. And so even though they were more money in the end, she still found a reason to work with them, which was really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And then, again, it's nothing. It said nothing about her.
Yeah.
And again, because I ran into her many times afterwards. And again, I didn't give her the fucking time of day thereafter. And even I remember once she came like begging because she needed help. No. She needed she had a marketing emergency. And I remember the
somebody
team
was
is
dying. Somebody's on the floor.
So and so is calling and she's saying it's critical. She needs our help. Do you want us to bother? And I was like, no, just fucking ignore her. And that's what it was. And she sent a letter she sent an email the next day and she's like, well, it's good to know who I can count on and who I can't. I was just like, whatever. Right?
Why don't you ask the other
Go
agency
ask the
that
other
you
agent.
shanked us with? Yeah,
exactly. And you know how that went, right?
Yeah, exactly.
She was a social climber. I didn't care.
Wow.
But again, the whole shiny object thing will only go so far, right?
Yep.
So again, just like the other one, if even though you're the shiny celebrity designer, if you don't live up to their expectations, they will not, hesitate to be like, dude, I'm paying 3 times the fucking, money for you. Mm-hmm. Give me what you're worth.
Yeah.
And try to argue that one, right?
Yeah.
And then another reason I think maybe people will excuse arrogance is I think it can be confused with passion.
Yes. Yeah.
And I am guilty of that 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I mean by that is I clear as day have an experience from like 10 years ago. And again, I'm really passionate when I talk to customers and I'm really into stuff. And, the first couple impressions, they thought I was very arrogant.
Oh, really?
Because I was like, excited. I had the answers. They're like, well, can you do this? I'm like, fuck yeah, I can do this.
Tells you.
Absolutely. And I get it because I was really excited and this and that and this and that. And, and the thing is, and they even said straight up, they're like, first time or two we met you, we thought you were actually kind of arrogant, but we realized that you're just really passionate about what you do.
Yes.
Right. And so I'm thinking people might do it the other way. They might think that somebody's passionate about it, but then realize their passion is actually arrogance.
Yes.
Right. So I kind of feel like flipped it the other way and proved that I wasn't arrogant, that I loved what I did.
Yeah.
Like things like, I would answer without even thinking, like, can you do this? Absolutely. I can do this. You know, like, do you know how to do this? Fuck yeah, I can do this. Right. Yeah. Like it was just, everything was like, how, like, so in that sense, ultimately I just had to learn how to shut the hell up.
So have you kind of backed down on stuff like that? You're
I'm
passionate.
Pretty passionate.
I was just going to say, I don't know how you could take that out of you. Like,
no, I can't take the passion out of it. What I do is I try to tone down my first couple meetings. Oh. I do. I try. And again, we'll talk about this. We'll definitely talk about this. But the whole idea about like, you have 2 ears, 1 mouth, right?
Yes.
So you have to ask, you have to listen, right? You have to, and I genuinely, sometimes people can see my excitement on the space, but I make sure it doesn't translate to fuck, I can do this. Yeah, my eyes closed. Even though in the back of my mind, I'm like, cakewalk. Like it's a fucking cake. Eyes closed, I can solve your problem. But especially now that we're niche, right? Because we're so niche, we're seeing a lot of the same problems over and over, which, sometimes it's like not as exciting as it once was. But it's like, I can fix that. And I know I can. Sometimes that comes out as arrogance, right? And I'll talk about why and what, certain arrogant behaviors to be aware of. Yeah. But it's
interesting. That's
but 100%. And I remember clear as day, like the owner of this company, and he had his marketing person. She was taken back, and then he's like, "Don't worry, he's not bad. That's just the way he is." And I was like, "What the fuck did you just mean by that?" And that's when I was like, "Holy shit! Maybe he thought I was a dick." But now we realize it's just the way I am, and I'm excitable, and fucking Italians. That Italian blood, let me tell you.
It's hot, baby.
Shit.
I think that's kind of what we've talked about with Chris Do too. Like he's kind of like that. Like I've seen videos of him, and it's just like he's kind of slicing a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes he pushes it where it's
but
just
he knows
like,
his shit. Like
that dude is so smart.
He's so smart.
So fucking smart. And he's calm, his composure.
And it's just cool.
Maybe I wouldn't mind a little bit more humility from the dude. Just a little bit.
I don't get that from him.
Yeah.
I get that if you hired him, he would get
I'm
he'd
sure
get
he
the
would
fucking
get the
job
job
done.
done.
Yeah,
But as
he'd be
a
awesome at that.
client, I'd be scared to turn anything back though.
That's exactly. I know.
Mr. Doe, I don't know if I
whether,
like this. I'm sorry.
What? No, I don't even think he would yell. He
Dude,
would
I've
just be
never
like-
seen that guy raise his voice.
I know, but he's amazing. But I could see where that would be.
Yeah.
The opposite of.
Well, and here's the thing, because
passion.
he's really confident.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then is confidence arrogance, right? Or can arrogance be confused with confidence, right? And this is like, I think clients always want to deal with a confident designer,
Big time.
because they want to make sure that the person they hire will get the shit done.
Yes.
But there is a fine line between confidence and arrogance, right? Confident people, they're open to, ideas, other people's ideas, right? They're open to, like they're secure enough in themselves that they can receive input and they can collaborate, because it's not just about them. They realize that, while they might be the lead or the lead facilitator, they don't necessarily have to have all the answers.
Right.
They just have to be the maestro to put it all together. Where I think arrogant people believe that they know it all, right? And they have this exaggerated sense of what they're capable of, right? And their own abilities, and they don't want to see anybody else's opinions and ideas. They just want yes people around them. Right. So there is a difference between the two.
Yep.
And it's a fine line, and I think you can carry one or the other. I can see how some people would think someone like Christo is arrogant and not confident. But I mean, the reality is he's very confident, dude.
He's very confident.
And it's funny, I was watching something from him from like today, like that was almost 10 years old, and it was literally on this topic. And how it was something that his friend at the time, Jose, was going on about how like he said, you always were confident. I always remember. And he was very humbling the way he talked about himself, saying, he was a little bit more open. I think he lost a little bit of that later, where it's like maybe he sees that as weakness. Maybe some people will see that as weakness, but it's I know that there's many sites that do. And I've been following him for years. He's fucking very, very, very
he's
smart
super
guy.
smart. Yeah.
So, okay. Needless to say, I'm calm. Got some bourbon in me. Okay, so now I'm feeling good. But one thing is for sure, and I can say this without a doubt, I don't think that there's any fucking arrogant, pretentious fucking designers that listen to our podcast, because I don't think it's what our podcast embraces.
Yeah.
I don't think I've talked to so many of our followers, and or I don't even want to call them followers, so many of our angry designers, and everybody seems to be down to earth and happy and thankful and give and take. It's a great community. So with that being said, because we care about everybody who listens to this show, okay, I got a list here of arrogant behaviors to be aware of.
He's good.
Okay, and this is shit, because I want people to pay attention to these. I'm guilty of a lot of these. I am, and this was a really good exercise for me to kind of bring things together, right? Like number one, okay. So being self-aware is very important.
Yes,
and that's why I just I created this list, and I was like, fuck, I'm guilty of a lot of this. And I want people to be genuinely self-aware. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you shithead.
Yes,
It
exactly.
doesn't. This
does
is
not.
legit.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So things like arrogant behaviors to be aware of, right? Like number one, snobbery. Okay? Fucking, I'm 100% guilty. I'm a car snob. I'm a design snob. I am a snob on a lot of things, right? In a lot of ways, right?
I see
and
that.
but when we start talking about being a snob about poor fonts, poor white space use, right? It's okay if we do it amongst our peers.
Yeah. You're always bashing me for impact.
Right? Fucking impact, people. He likes
You
impact.
snob.
But you have to admit, right? Like it's like it is a little, pretentious to talk this way, especially if you talk about it, when you're talking to a potential customer and you're like, oh yeah, that font looks very dated. You're better than that, right? It's like maybe there's better ways to use. So this is where we have to pull back on the snobbery. It's okay to do it amongst our peers because we razz each other about it all the time.
Totally.
Impact, But again, remember, right? The idea here is, right?
One does not simply do a meme without impact.
It will forever be known as the meme font.
Totally.
So okay, the thing to remember about snobbery, okay, is you don't necessarily know how the customer's logo got to where it is.
Right.
You don't know how their website got to that point. You don't know if it was their kid, if it was their wife, husband, if it was, like something that they slaved over and were proud of. You unfortunately just don't know that. And again, I've been guilty about slamming people's stuff and being like, shit, sorry.
Yeah.
And now I'm a lot more conscious about that, right? So, and even the processes that got to these people, right? So be careful and empathize very, very, very carefully about when you talk about their current work, their marketing material, experiences, people that they've worked with in the past, okay?
Yeah.
So again, that's snobbery number one. Okay, number one, snobbery, right?
Wow. Yep.
Okay, arrogant behaviors, watch out for number two. You use technical jargon without explanation or you use design jargon to describe something that is completely straightforward and simple.
Oh, God.
This is one of those people who always use those fancy words to
Yep.
be like, instead of pass the butter, it becomes this giant fucking elaborate Shakespearean, poetic, sentence. And it's like, dude, just pass the fucking butter. And people are so guilty of this, okay? It's important to communicate in a way that's understandable,
Yes.
and simple and straightforward. Again, to all parties involved.
Yes.
You shouldn't have to be a designer
Yes.
to understand a designer. And that's key, right?
Yes.
Especially if you're a customer.
Yes.
Okay? So, again,
Yes.
that's big arrogant
That's
behavior,
huge.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Arrogant behavior to be aware of. Number three, you're condescending in your communication. Okay? And this is to customers, to coworkers, or even to people, especially to people who aren't on the same level of expertise as you are.
Oh.
Often students.
Students.
Sometimes I'm going through this right now, Sean.
Yeah.
I'm irritated, and it's just like,
some little hot shit little UX designer rolls up on you. Oh,
dude, and it's just you want to, and you want to be. It's hard not to be condescending in your communication of this, but it's like, again, it is bad behavior. Okay, it's
Yes.
arrogant behavior.
Yeah.
You got to remember, you don't have all the answers. You absolutely don't, right? You're human. And everybody else is fucking human that you're dealing with.
Yes.
So you have to remember that you didn't start, right from where you are today.
Yeah.
You had it yesterday and you're going to have it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. So just because somebody else is on your yesterdays, don't piss on them for
Yes,
that. Right.
exactly.
You got to keep it calm, right? Explain, and this is where the humility comes in, right?
that's exactly
Somebody
it.
else's.
And see,
Yep.
that's the thing. Back to your little UX designer, it's like immediately he goes on the defensive.
100%.
This is wrong.
Absolutely.
This is arrogant behavior, right? Like you're just kind of like, oh, well, why would we need that? No, instead of
You're just been doing this for 20 years. You don't know what you're talking
you don't
about.
know shit. Instead of, oh, that's a great point. Boom.
Right.
There you go.
We're there to learn from each other.
You've opened the door.
Yeah.
Yes. To a
Exactly.
good idea,
Yes.
which is
a valid
today,
idea.
this is
backed it up.
This is a necessity.
Fuck.
Yeah. And again, the logos, how many times have we talked about the Disney logo?
Absolutely.
And we love it so
It
much.
has to be.
How it just pairs down
It has to.
the smallest possible.
And I mean,
So there's no
who
excuse.
else owns a brand as good as that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is the kind of
So,
shit where
yeah.
you're just like, so you have no business saying,
Yeah, absolutely.
this is the Y logo. Why would we need anything else? Whoa.
All right. Arrogant behavior, number 4. You're unwilling to make a design change that meets the client's objectives or changes, right? And this is sad, and we're all guilty of this, but the reality is you have to remember, okay, that the client might have a different vision for their project than you do. That's all. Doesn't mean you suck. It doesn't mean you're wrong, but they hired you to help bring out their vision,
Yes.
not yours.
Not your vision.
So don't be unwilling or be difficult to fucking go down that road and help them achieve what they hired you for. Okay? And again, we've got to remember that. What they hired you for.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Arrogant behavior number 5.
Temperature rising.
You prioritize aesthetics over functionality. Okay, that's a huge arrogant behavior, right?
Yeah.
Again, you got to remember that aesthetics are important, and I I'll love it. Of course I love it. I want everything to look great, but it doesn't trump functionality. And if something doesn't function properly, if it doesn't deliver that message, it's failed. It doesn't matter how good it looks. You could have the hottest fucking car in the road, but if it just sits there because it doesn't drive, what fucking good is it? You can invite everybody over to look at your car?
It's got those sexy square wheels that are really hip nowadays. Yeah, it's not a real comfortable ride, but she sure looks good. Look at those square tires.
Whoa. Oh, shit. That's amazing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's got to be functional.
Has to be functional, right? Keep that in mind.
It's got to fit in a favicon.
Right? It has to do that.
It's to be responsible.
All right. Arrogant behavior number 6. Okay. You're dismissive of client feedback.
Oh.
Okay.
Ooh.
So dismissive. Now, we're not saying you're not willing to do it.
Oh.
You're dismissive of
Okay.
it. Okay.
Guilty.
And again, yeah. No, I think we all are actually. But again, it's, you believe that your design is right the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the wrong part. Again, right? You got to remember that effective communication involves collaboration. Okay. And we have to understand the client's needs and we have to help achieve that. Right. So don't be dismissive. There's always going to be a nugget of information in there that we need to address. Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Number 7 of arrogant behaviors to be aware of: overemphasizing the importance of a design or implying that design is the most critical part of a project or a business.
Ooh,
okay.
Wow.
And again, people, it's so common to get wrapped up in how important a logo is and how important visual communication is. But the reality is there's so much more of a business. This is just one part of it. We have customers now that they've been operating for 30 years. They are worth $100 million and have really shitty branding. But again, because there's other parts of their business that work. And so again, to go to them and be arrogant enough to be like, design is important. It's going to change your business. Really? Is it going to change our $100 million business already? I mean, again, it is important, but design alone isn't going to fucking save the world.
True. Yes.
And that's what people have to remember, right? Design, or through the process of design, we may uncover huge solutions that might save them a ton of money. But the thing is, it's not necessarily always going to be the answer.
Right.
Okay. And people need to remember that it's a process. And through that process, we'll get to a fucking great place. But it doesn't mean it's everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I'm not discounting what we do.
No, it's very important, but it's not the be all and end all.
There's more to,
There's more
and
to it
again,
than that.
think of every one of our customers, if their brand slipped or this or that, chances are they've got 30 other things to worry about on a daily basis. It's not going to shut them down tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. very few businesses close because of their
There's
brand.
a logo fail. The logo fail.
Oh, this sucks. Let's tank them.
I think the worst one was the brand, when the Gap rebranded.
Yeah.
It was so bad that 2 weeks later they went back.
Yes.
If they could they managed to do it.
survived.
They
Yeah.
survived
Yeah.
over that brand fiasco.
Yeah.
So I'm sure everybody else.
Yeah. Good point.
All right. Arrogant behavior to be aware of. Number 8, you are way too overconfident. Okay. And what I mean by this is, and I don't mean this in a bad way. Okay. This goes exactly to what I was talking about, right?
Yep.
I'm like, you've done this so many fucking times. You're like, I can do this with my eyes closed. Don't worry. The reality is every customer wants to feel like they are the first time that you are doing this. They almost want to feel like this is a virgin experience every single time, right? And so the thing is, the fact that you can help solve this problem, that you can deliver this fucking amazing, and you will be a hero at the end of the project.
Yeah.
But every time you start that project, don't discredit their problem and say, I've done this 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I've got you covered. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah, I
you.
got this.
I'm your guy.
Yeah.
No, and that's what I mean by you're overconfident, right? They always want to feel like it's you're there first.
Yeah.
And you want to give them the attention, and that they hired a person that's gonna through this miraculous design process, regardless if it's the first or 50th time you've done this, are gonna help them achieve this.
Yeah.
So remember that, overconfidence, it's great internally, especially.
Big time.
Right? And you can portray the confidence that you're confident you can help them achieve their goals. But remember, to them, they're not just another number.
Right.
Right?
Keep a lid on it.
Yeah.
Let it simmer.
Let it simmer. Let it simmer. Or just, in my case, just shut the hell up, okay? Calm the fuck down and shut up, Moss. Stop getting so excited.
That's so funny. I would love to have seen you in that. Everybody going, what the hell? This guy's intense.
Man, bouncing on the walls, man.
Yeah, what is this, Tuesday? Oh, of course he is. Yeah.
Oh, shit. And last but not least, arrogant behaviors to watch out for, refusing to collaborate. Okay? So I should have, with that fucking UX prick from this, okay? I should have been like, no. But right from the start, I was like, okay, I'll listen to what he has to say. And this feels like it's the third time in like 3 weeks. Remember, we just had this with that website from a couple weeks ago with the other kid who's slamming everything.
Oh, this is a different kid.
This is a different kid, dude. I know. And it's like, you know, you're there for your customer. And if they want, you know, you to collaborate with somebody, then you have to, you know, you have to step up and do it, right? So, and a shitty thing is one of our customers, this week, of all things, was like, hey, we need to have a talk about SEO. And I'm like, you know, we don't do that. Yeah. But for this one customer, I've been doing it, right? And I have been doing it, and their demands are getting more and more and more and more, right? And it's just like, you know what? I can't keep up with it. So when I saw that email, I was like, you know what? I know where this is going. Don't worry. We don't have to have a meeting. You know, did you find somebody? And they're like, you know what? We did. And nothing personal. It's just, and I was like, dude, don't even explain. You know, I will do whatever you want. I will help them. I will, you know, and you know, I will collaborate. And they were like, wow, that was great. We don't even have to have a meeting. Like, that's exactly it. We were scared that you weren't going to want to collaborate with. I was like, no, like, absolutely want to collaborate with whoever you got, because the reality is I couldn't meet their expectations. I couldn't live up to their expectations. And I knew I couldn't. I was the one who said, look, you know, I'm falling short because the reality is we don't do that anymore here. And I am the only person here. And I'm so busy. I just can't. And I'm falling short. Right.
And this is one of those jobs that you pass on to the professionals that do this stuff for
absolutely,
living, right?
Absolutely, right. Especially to the level what they want. And it was okay. So I was happy to collaborate. Right. Unfortunately, the other two offers of collaboration didn't work out so well, and I was a little pissy about that. Maybe it has something to do with UX people.
So it was them working with you was the collaboration stall.
Yeah, it was the same thing, right? It was just kind of get together. We want you to, you know, talk to this person or whatever.
This is what I don't understand. That company should say, "Hey, you play nice with Z Factor."
Yeah, right.
They're playing nice with you.
Yeah, but well, right. You know, you don't. Again, and again, the one we knew was a fucking co-op. So they came back and they said, you know what? Yeah, he doesn't really know too much. Don't take his shit to heart. This other one, fucking nepotism. 100% it was nepotism. 100%. So again, but I mean, the reality is you don't know what they're asking you and who they're asking you to collaborate with.
Right.
So you need to take a deep breath and be open to it. And just, you know, with one of our other customers, we often collaborate with, you know, sign install shops all over the Midwest. Okay. And again, we're collaborating. They're like, hey, we deal with this person. No problem. We'll work with you. How can we make your life easier? And we do. We created a brand book. We created something it's something simple to follow. Everything's exactly the same. And it's seamless, right? But we have to be willing to collaborate with all these people.
Totally. Yeah.
And it's to the benefit of the customer.
It's exactly. You know? Because they'll be like, oh, that was easy.
Yep. Exactly.
Hey, I know these guys.
Right.
They can help.
As opposed to you being like, no, shut up and listen. We're the agency.
This is how it's going to be done.
Look at me. I'm the designer. I am the designer.
I'm Kardashian, and you're going to listen to me. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's the way that's how you do that. You collaborate.
These are arrogant behaviors that we genuinely want you all to be aware of. Yeah, honestly, because again,
it's okay to have them, right?
Yeah. Well, and again, I think I'm guilty of almost everyone to some points or another.
But you have managed them over time, right?
Right. And you realize it.
I'm the same way.
Right? Yeah. And again, because nothing hurts us designers, our industry, more than arrogant, fucking pretentious designers who don't even. Actually, in my opinion, after meeting the superstars that we've met, nobody deserves to be this way. Nobody does. No, I don't fucking care who they are. Nobody deserves to be this way.
If Aaron Draplin can spend 3 hours
talking
to us, I mean, that's fucking cool.
He talked to us for so long that near the end, I was really drunk. For the record. And he knew that. He knew that.
But I mean, he didn't have to do that.
He didn't absolutely have
You know
to
what I
do
mean?
that at all, right?
But it was just such
and
a...
he was so open, and he wasn't putting on a show.
No.
And he was who he was.
Yeah.
There's no holds barred. Again, you know what I mean? That Alan Peters, you know,
That-
like just
yeah.
people who just we've been meeting. I give you guys
Janda.
credit. Janda is incredible,
He was
incredible,
great.
right?
He
We've
was
had James
so
Martin
nice.
reach out,
Yes.
superstar there.
Yes.
Oh my God, like it just keeps going and going, right? Like I've
I
got
know.
so many Will from YouTube, dude. You rock. Like again, it's just like wow,
Yeah.
it's like fun.
Yeah, it's great. It's and that's a humbling experience,
It is
isn't
a
it?
very humbling
Exactly.
experience. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, okay.
Awesome.
I feel better.
Yeah.
I feel better now. Thank you for letting me get that off my chest.
Yeah, this is the Moss's venting hour.
Well, it happens to all of us.
It
But yeah,
totally does.
this, I had some rage that I had to get out.
You did, and it was
Thank you for
great.
this.
And we're all the wiser for it, too.
All right, everybody.
Woo!
Well, I really hope you got something out of this, even if it was just a couple really good laughs. Please, by all means, share us with anybody that you know that could benefit from this. Plug us if you can. Give us a high five, give us a review on, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever. This is how we're growing. I mean, heck, we were like #1 in Egypt this week. How fucking cool is that?
Holy shit.
I know, right?
Wow.
We're fucking in there with the mummies, yo. They're fucking playing the podcast in the pyramids. Well, I don't know if that's how it works, but in my mind it does.
Yes. Oh,
So,
that's great.
It's
Wow,
really fucking
that's
cool,
very
right?
cool.
I know. I thought that was really cool.
Yes.
So, and again, we're there and we're thankful for every single person who listens.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
So, we got some exciting stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. So,
Oh,
stay
boy.
close.
Oh,
We're
boy.
going to be talking to some people. We might have a guest on the show.
Mm.
So, but yeah, stay tuned for that. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
All right.
That was really good.
let's not diddle daddle anymore, okay, buddy? Because
I
we
know.
tend to do this. We never want to say goodbye.
I know. We can do that. So how are you doing?
Oh, by the way. We love you all.
Yes.
All
you
right,
guys
my
are
name
awesome.
is Massimo.
And my name is Sean.
Stay creative.
And stay angry.